local folklore, tragedies, stories of horror. Every city and small town has them. But the thing about folklore is that there is no documented proof of its occurrence. Here are 4 original press photos with tragic backstories from Shreveport, Bossier City. Number 4. The Butterfly Man Shack. It was 1934, and Fred Lockhart arrived in Shreveport by freight train from Georgia. Lockhart was a wandering vendor, known for making artificial butterflies by any materials that he can find and selling them for 5 cents. On Thursday, April 12, 1934, Lockhart, aka the Butterfly Man, approached Mae Griffin's mother and said he needed help with his sick wife and was willing to pay her daughter $3. Mae's mother thought it was a good idea and allowed her daughter to purchase a dress and some shoes for her upcoming wedding to Lee Looney of Board Camp, Arkansas. They walked across what was then Shreveport's Golf and Country Club. They ended up near what is now the intersection of Lakeshore Drive and Cross Lake Boulevard. It was described at the time as a few hundred yards west of Jewella on Fetzer Avenue. Much of what is now Lakeshore Drive was Fetzer in 1934. According to investigators, Lockhart led Mae Griffin into some woods just off the shoreline of Cross Lake, where he sexually assaulted and killed her. 3 days later, on Sunday, some men were going fishing in the area. They were canvassing for worms and found her body. They called police. On April 18, 1934, Fred Lockhart, aka the Butterfly Man, was found living in this shack on the outskirts of Shreveport. He was taken into custody and questioned for the slaying of 16-year-old Mae Griffin. He later confessed to killing her. 8 days after Mae Griffin's body was found, Lockhart went on trial at the Caddo Parish Courthouse on Monday, April 23, 1934. The trial lasted 1 day. The jury deliberated only 5 minutes before finding Lockhart guilty. Prosecutors wanted to hang him that Friday. 30 days later was the norm in Louisiana, but the governor rejected the request for a quick sentence. Lockhart was set to hang on May 18th. The Butterfly Man was executed by hanging on May 18, 1934. He's buried at Greenwood Cemetery in Shreveport in an unmarked grave. Number 3. Bossier City plane crash, 1971. On October 29, 1971, a prominent Shreveport businesswoman and a well-known commercial pilot were killed when their plane clipped a state police radio tower and crashed into a Bossier City neighborhood. The plane narrowly missed several homes and a mobile home. Miss L.B. Nellie Kilpatrick, president of Kilpatrick Life Insurance Company and Roseneath Funeral Home, and Newt Badgett, a pioneer aviator in the area since 1927, were killed. The Cessna 206 aircraft toppled a 50-foot section off of an antenna at State Police Headquarters, dropped a wing in a tree, plowed into the backyard of a nearby residence, and skidded to a stop just 6 feet from a mobile home. Gasoline spilled from the plane and touched off a fire in the surrounding grass, but the fire was quickly put out. A dome light on the top of the 200-foot tower plummeted through the roof of the police headquarters and landed on an unoccupied desk. Pieces of the antenna damaged several police cars outside the building. Sergeant Lonzie Grisby, a trooper on the grounds outside the building, described the scene of the crash. Pieces started flying all around us, he said. Several pieces fell close to my feet, and parts of the antenna fell to the left of our patrol car. We looked and saw the body of the plane going down at an angle, and we knew it fell really close. It took rescuers nearly an hour to free the two bodies from the wreckage. No other injuries were reported in the incident. Number 2. 1954 police standoff and shootout. On February 27, 1954, Shreveport police arrived at Man West, a sharecropper's home, for a non-support of family. The farmhand fought a long 3-hour gun battle with police. Police Chief Edward Gatson Huckaby and Deputy Sheriff Maurice Miller were both killed during the battle. The arrow shown in the photograph marks the spot where Chief Huckaby and Deputy Miller were shot and killed by the suspect's bullets. The X marks the spot where the suspect was hiding. The suspect was eventually smoked out with tear gas bombs and then shot to death. Number 1. Horace Doyle Barnett, the Mississippi Burning Trial. On January 18, 1965, Horace Doyle Barnett of Cullen, Louisiana, was arrested on a federal grand jury indictment stemming from the deaths of 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi. The FBI called its investigation Mississippi Burning, which was later used as the title for a 1988 film loosely based on the case. In 1964, 3 civil rights workers, 2 Jewish and 1 Black American, went missing in Jessup County, Mississippi, while organizing a voter registry for Black Americans. The FBI sends Alan Ward and Rupert Anderson to investigate. Ward is a Northerner senior in rank, but much younger than Anderson, and approaches the investigation by the book. In contrast, Anderson, a former Mississippi sheriff, is more aggressive in his approach. The pair finds it difficult to conduct interviews with the local townspeople, as Sheriff Ray Stuckey and his deputies influence the public and are linked to a branch of the Ku Klux Klan. The wife of Deputy Sheriff Clinton Pale reveals to Anderson in a discreet conversation that the 3 missing men have been murdered and their bodies buried. Barnett was one of many Klan members who were present during the slayings of the 3 workers. He was arrested in Shreveport on January 18, 1965. This press photograph shows Barnett, along with his attorney, an FBI agent, walking out of the Cattle Parish Courthouse to face the U.S. Commissioner, who later set his bond at $5,000.